If your college were a girl,
It could be a girl with multicolored hair, contact lenses, really weirdly dyed, maybe even a mustache, I don't know. But at the heart of it, like the dating profile, I think would say that she was still honest and kind of just kind of true to herself.
what if your mom heard about all this? Would she
Wow.
approve?
No, I think she would probably disown me. And but I mean that's a school. That's a place where like you can be traditional, conservative, whatever. You can be crazy liberal, on the verge of getting arrested. Yeah, but we all still are Brunonians. We are people of brown, and that's that.
Brandon, today you are here and you have been admitted to Brown Early Decision. So could you share a bit why early decision?
Well, it was, I think, a very challenging decision because, it's kind of like committing to marriage. You're just going in, one school, same as one girl, and that's it. You're not going to look at anyone else. And so, but the key thing really is this, that, when you're found, and Brown, as I'll, maybe talk about later, it really wasn't like a first choice kind of thing. Really, it wasn't a first fit. But as I got to know the school a bit better, it turned out to be that one school that I think I could really make a difference in what I was going to study, how I was going to live my life consequently. Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, then now tell me, why Brown?
Well, Brown, the shorthand answer would be narrowed down to three things, really. That it was a crazy liberal place where I'll be meeting people, meeting views, meeting things that nowhere else in the world, or I'll be very hard-pressed to meet anywhere else in the world. In terms of what they fight for, in terms of what they believe in, it's a very different environment from Singapore. Definitely way out of the comfort zone. That was the first. The second was it was this kind of passion which drove everyone, which I thought was really lacking in my life and in Singapore in general. And the last thing really was that it was a place where learning really met action, and I think that really spoke to me about how learning wasn't just in the classroom, but it just extended out through the corridors into your discussions, into the events, the people you meet, the things you organize, and it just permeated the entire school.
What eventually then moved you towards an essay which obviously worked, that told your story?
Well, sometimes inspiration comes from other people. So I just went for a walk with my counselor, and we went to the nearby neighborhood, Bishan Toa Payoh, and we just kind of walked. Like I had no idea what that district meant. I had no idea the history that lay behind it, and so my counselor just told me. I mean, not in a very NE heritage style kind of tour, no. He just pointed out, actually there was a kind of red bean soup shop, which is now a brothel-ish establishment, that kind of stuff. What about that bak kut teh teapot? What's significant about it? What I've experienced of it. That walk kind of just opened my eyes up to like what I'd been missing all my life. All these stories, all these things that were always there, but I just kind of never cared about.
But then how did you then turn that onto yourself?
Well, it's a process of kind of linking that complete ignorance I had about everything around me, because so single-mindedly focused on doing things and accomplishing things, and then linking it to how much richer, how much more there was that the world had to offer, not just all your trophies, all your medals and stuff, and kind of breaking free from that kind of mindset. So it was, it could have turned into a very boring thing. I was locked up and then now I'm broken free and I'm soaring free, that kind of thing. But in my essay,
very Josh Groban.
Yeah, kind of, really, yeah, but no. Well, what the essay became eventually was an account of how I was slowly finding my way out of that very dark and very boring place into one where I could actually explore the world freely. And that, hopefully, I think, probably did speak to the admissions tutor, the admissions counselor, like that maybe this is a guy who, although he's completely hopeless and ignorant at everything in his life in terms of seeing a good story, that maybe we've got a chance at bringing him to see some real stories.
So that kind of also, if you have not realized, kind of goes very well with why you then wanted to go to Brown.
Yeah. definitely. I mean, Brown in itself is a spirit of freedom. I mean, the school was founded just to protest against, all the traditional religious establishments. The school today is a complete roadblock, against all. Yeah. So Brown's spirit is founded in that in that kind of in that kind of freedom. So, well, I think my essay had some elements which really spoke of the school spirit.
So, I mean, you have succeeded. You know, there are many kids who are hoping to be like you this year, or whichever year might come. What would be a valuable piece of advice? I mean, in choosing school, I mean, I mean, one of the things we look for is always rankings.
Yeah.
Or how do I find a school? Let's look at rankings. So, if we were to look beyond rankings, what should we be looking at?
Well, I think just be happy in the school that you are in. It's hard to say what happiness is, right? But it could be as simple as like, the people you meet, you're gonna find them really cool, really your kind of guy. Or maybe on the other hand, like me, you want to meet completely different people and find fulfillment in that, like talking to people of different faiths, different races, that kind of thing. Sitting down and just having a cup of coffee with them. Maybe it's something about the programs. I don't know, but it has to really speak to you. That this is, it's like choosing a girlfriend. This is the school. This is the goal for me. Yeah. If it doesn't, if you're going for rankings, I think frequently you'll find that you'll probably be disappointed. If not at the admissions phase, then if you do get to the school, you'll find maybe it's not your cup of tea.
In this flood of information, could you tell me where was your one source of reliable information? Where do you usually go?
Well, I'd say my counselor really kind of brought me through the ropes as to how the whole game works. But even he, I think, at the end of the day, did admit that, well, nothing was certain, nothing was sure. I mean, like, you could try and bribe your way into the school, you could try and throw all your medals, all your results, everything. But at the end of the day, there's never 100% kind of thing. Like, there are some people who say, I can definitely get you into Harvard. There's this one essay, there's this one achievement that you've got to do, there's this one thing, there's one portfolio you got something. No, that's not the way it works. Every year, the game kind of changes. And no one really knows all the squares on the chessboard. No one really knows all the pieces, in this game of college chess, so to speak. Yeah, so you can't beat the system, you can't game it. All you can do is step forward with the best, you that you are. A real and authentic you is important. And then you kind of just leave it to faith. You really just hope for the best that somewhere in the world, some admissions officer reads your portfolio, reads your essays and says, wow, this guy is great, I'm going to fight for him. Yeah, because beyond that, there's nothing else that is certain in this.
So, I mean, we've given a fair amount of advice to applicants. What would be that one advice you would give to parents? Parents tend to be very invested in this process. They care about where their kids go. What is that one very important advice you would give to them?
Well, I'd say just trust that your kids know what they're doing. Hopefully they do, and that's why it's important to get a good counselor and get a good source of information, that kind of stuff. But yeah, just trust your kids. I mean, like, there's nothing else. It's not just for colleges. It's like for careers, like for their girlfriends, that kind of thing. Trust that your kids know where they're going and know what they want. I mean, if they're going on some really crazy choices, steer them back a bit, but don't kind of like try and impose your views. Although they may be very valuable, I think parents are really new to this college admissions game as much as their kids. So you could talk to a lot of your relatives, you could talk to read a lot of books and stuff. But then at the end of the day, it's what fits your kid. So I think give your kid the space to really pursue that. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's helpful. But I think most parents would want to know if you could name one prime determining factor in your life that contributed to your success in college applications, what would it be?
I would say it's knowing how the whole admissions game works, that nothing is certain, but at the same time that there are, and this is where a good counselor is very important, there are certain ways in which you could present your application in the best possible light. While we say that nothing is certain, There are any old how done apps, which, just throw in everything and just pray for the best. And there are apps which are given a lot of careful consideration, a lot of careful and precise deliberation. And it's these apps which are agonized over, which are thought over, which are, maybe have tears shed over them, which these are the ones that may actually stand a chance.
So what was the best advice your counselor gave you then?
I would say go where your heart leads, and that's what led me to Brown and not Stanford at the end, because my head and my ego and everything was saying, oh, try for the real big ones. All my friends would say, oh, try for the real big ones. You've got the results, you've got the grades, everything. Yeah, but my heart was just like, well, why not jump into Brown? Why not give it a crazy shot?
Since you love Brown so much, could you name me the name of the Brown president?
Christina Paxson.
Damn it.
Oh, this guy. Damn, good job.
Please. I do
Could
my
you
homework.
name
Vice
me?
President, the
Okay, let's
Dean of
check
Admissions.
how stalkerish you are. Could you give me the name of the Dean of Admissions?
Eric J. Fuller? Folder?
That is Penn. That is
oh
you,
dear.
Penn.
Oh no! Whoa! I have no idea how that. Wait. Okay, I know it's Eric something Miller. No, nothing.
That is you, Penn.
That's Penn.
Yeah.
But it was just
Shock.
on
Are you
my
sure you're going to the
admissions
right
letter.
school?
Oh no, wrong. I did not say that. I was coerced.
I'm actually going to pen. This is all fake. Don't worry, we'll cut it out. Yeah.
No, we won't. We're going to put that in. That's so cute. No.
Eric, really is not.
Eric Further is from Penn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the Brown admissions dean?
Find out.
He signed the letter.
Yes.
Yeah. How could I? I could. Okay, shall go find out.